Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now, I know I said I wouldn't be doing any more readings this month, but I have a few spare hours, so hopefully I'll be able to do all 12 for the Lunar Galactic download for this month. The moon will be passing across 16, 17 degrees Sagittarius on the 22nd, which also happens to be the fall equinox. So when I saw that, I thought, oh no, I can't miss that one. Now, the equinox, as you probably know, fall equinox, autumnal equinox, equal hours of light and dark, seeking a point of balance. Interesting, since it is also the point of going into Libra, the scales. Well, that's probably where the symbolism came from in the first place. Now, listening to the various astrologies, Chris Witecki on his Namaste Today, shared on my Facebook page, link down below, of course, talks about the sun ingress into Libra, about coming into a new relationship with ourselves, whereas Astrology with Heather also said seeking to come into balance. Not necessarily finding that balance. I mean, hey, have you seen the world? But seeking to come into that balance, making the effort to move towards it. Now, this is also the Feast of Mabon, which, although people talk about the Wheel of the Year being an old thing, which it is, Mabon's recognition only seems to derive from the 1970s onwards. But anyway, he was a child of the light and son of Mother Earth, I think, if I remember correctly. I did print some notes out, but they're over there. Now, this is a time for reaping, for the second harvest, the fruit harvest, and a time for review for everything that you started putting into action in the spring equinox and in the early side of the year. Well, it's also a good point about the fall equinox is Jupiter has just changed to go direct, so it's signifying a good change in in consciousness and confidence, maybe, but a good change in consciousness. All in all, pretty good omens, pretty good symbols. Now, considering that with the Mars-Saturn square, Mars-Pluto square, Mars-Jupiter square, Mercury, T-square, Mars and Saturn, that doesn't figure, does it? But it's Mercury's coming into T-square of something or other, and I'm sure Mars and Saturn are involved there, but maybe Saturn must be T-squaring. But anyway, moving on. Watch the Astrology with Heather video for more details on that. Again, link down below on my Facebook page, link down below. But I want to look at the symbol for 0 degrees Libra. Now, the Chandra symbol is, and not at all stereotypical, a group of fat Italian ladies preparing bread. Now, it says this is an archetypal, universal and diffuse allegiances, activities and realms of experience, becoming camouflaged perfectly by adopting a persona that is wondrously engaging and easy connected with. So that does indicate an energy to put people at ease and to start rebuilding relationships if they've been destroyed. However, the interpretation goes on, putting it on a bit heavy, thick grease paint. You exult in getting away with seeming to be the world's most anonymous person. The disguise can stick to the face. Overt consciousness awash in mass identification. At times you are able to penetrate through and find open possibilities, but you are primarily engrossed in the outer and alive to the advertised sensations of what it is like to be popular, well received and simply welcome wherever you go as part of the mix, and no problem at all. So, bit double-edged. Well, to me, I think that's a little bit double-edged about that whole subsuming yourself in mass identification. But if you're trying to smooth over any divisions, then that's quite useful. Now, the Omega symbol, which I really like a lot more, is an apothecary shop in which herbal concoctions and other medicines appear as needed. So this is talking about desire and need combined with pure intent, creating their own fulfillment spontaneously. And the oracle of this degree, which explores it more, where is it? So, and I love this little story, an alchemist invented an apothecary shop which mirrored completely the realm of disease. Anyone who entered it immediately reflected their essence onto the mind of the shop, which then generated the herbs and compounds as an echoing of felt needs. The shop held all of the answers and solutions that one could ever desire. Now, what was curious was how few people came to the shop. And of those few who came and took home the medicines, how many of the medicines were placed on a shelf somewhere and forgotten about? So the shop, always desirous of improving the potency and efficacy of its products, began focusing on other medications such as songs, weather and memory clusters, which is harvested out of people and distilled into custom-made homeopathic essences. Illusions, properly selected and harvested, were also found to be highly salutary. Well, salutary I would have thought meant to say hello, but I assume that means some form of healing. That sounds perfect and a little bit double-edged. Hopefully it is reflecting your actual need and not what you think your needs are, because let's face it, we're all on this, if you're on that self-exploratory trip, we're all well aware of the difference between the two. So, to the cards, this is going to be a general reading for your star sign. This is a bulk introduction, as ever. There will be a timestamp down below, so once you've seen the introduction once, you don't have to watch it again. And I advise that you look at your sun, your moon, and your rising signs. Particularly, I would say, on this one, your moon, since we are talking about seeking balance, and the first place to seek balance is within your feelings, because if you don't get the balance there, you're not going to get the balance anywhere else. So as a general reading rules apply. You know the script here, you know, roles can be reversed if someone else appears. It's an oracle card driven reading, so you can ask a question beforehand. I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to give you an answer in any form that can relate to the question, but we're looking at the energies coming in. This is the model, and some astrologer friends of mine have contested this, but basically this is tarot, not astrology. But looking at what energies coming from Galactic Center are filtered by the moon and how they can affect us this season, especially with it being fall equinox. Especially with Jupiter just going direct. There is quite a challenging month ahead for us astrologically, but it looks like the fall equinox energies can really give us a springboard to hurtle through it and take advantage of the challenges that come to us, rather than just going, no, 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 no more, no more. Although, if you find yourself huddling in a corner rocking and saying, no more 2020 please, I don't blame you. Won't get a lot done, but I don't blame you. But try not to do that, because hey ho, we have got to make it to the end of the year somehow, you know. Even if my favourite election bumper sticker so far is Giant Asteroid 2020. So, yeah, comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Join the Facebook page, because if you're a Facebook person, you know, social dilemma notwithstanding, because I don't just post my videos, I post videos from the astrologers, the various, you know, astrology weather reports, Achita Bava, Astrology with Heather, Ksenia Moore, astrology podcast. Now there's always a good investment. It's normally about 2.5 hours long. Rick Levine, Astrology Hub. Can't think of any more right now, but I know that there's oodles more that I watch, but I want to get on with the cards. So let's bring them up. Okay then, Sagittarius, and welcome Sagittarius Rising and Sagittarius Moon if you've just joined us after the timestamp. So we start with two cards from the Moonology Oracle. work through your fears and the energy is gaining momentum. So it's almost like you are being presented with... Now, I don't want to use the phrase obstacles because this is the next point. From the wisdom of the House of Night, we have the Forbidden card, Summon, and then High Priestess of Fire. So work through your fears and the energy is gaining momentum. There's a goal that you have, that you're set on, right? But it also appears to be a goal that you are being told by the universe, no, not until you speak to your God properly first. Well, you know, whatever that means, you know, connecting with your higher self, speaking to God, Goddess, the universal oneness of stuff, flying spaghetti monster, you know, but whatever works for you. But the Forbidden card is saying, no, you're not. Or at least not right now, because you need to speak with your spiritual guidance, with your own interpretation of the divine, in order to become creative. But there is obviously the warning with this High Priestess of Fire card is that you can be very, very creative, but the Fire card, the High Priestess, is very much showing you how you create your own reality. And if you want to burn everything down, you can do, not advised. But you need to do this whole work through your fears, because something is coming along, something where your power is being guided by spirit. This whole journey appears to be guided by spirit. You've got the present power with Keter, the angel of the Sephiroth of Kepha, looking down upon the present power, which also came out with this one card. This really wanted to come out because the cards fell out of the deck. The pile that fell out split into two. That was on the top of the top bit. That was on the top of the second bit. And the red called to me. It wanted to come. The Honouring Path. I did mean to look it up. But the Honouring Path, if I remember correctly, it's about accolades and it's about public knowledge of what you're doing. But more importantly, it's being recognised for doing the right thing, being recognised for being on the right path. And that recognition is not there yet. That recognition is not there yet because you have not connected with that which can recognise it. For whatever reason. I'm not saying you've not connected with your Godhead in entirety, but on this particular issue, at this particular moment, it appears that no, there's a phone call waiting for you. You know, there's dial 555 God. You know, there's but with this we have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, Intuitive Hits and Soul Tribe, and then the Whale and Orca Elders card, who are very much talking about singing the song of your own soul, just like they do in the oceans, to have the effect on the world around you. Now, that may be what you feel that you are doing, but the Oracle of Heaven and Hell came out Marax with his astrological degrees representing prejudice. Now, the whole feeling with this, certainly this start, is hurry up, work through your fears, the energy is gaining momentum, and wait. Forbidden, Summon, High Priestess of Fire, and then things, once you have gone through these steps, because you are being guided, you're being guided to the correct path. But this prejudice card, the sensation of Marax, is with Nochael for desire for knowledge, but it was Marax that came out dignified of the deck, so it's Marax I'm going to go with. But I feel like the desire for knowledge is an underpinning here. That maybe there's something that you are not desiring knowledge about, but Spirit here is desiring that you do have knowledge about it, whatever that may mean for you. Because there's people waiting to come together with you in some great effort, something that you know you want to work towards, but you have to work through your fears regarding it. And some of those fears may be rooted in some form of prejudice. And what by prejudice, I'm not just meaning racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia. Not, it could be, I don't want to work on a farm. You know, whereas there is a prejudice of farm workers, no. And therefore you're not wanting to put yourself there. I'm just using that as an example, okay? Don't shoot me. But there's something that you have, for instance, if you were brought up to always hate Ford Cortinas and the only place for you to go to this promised land of the Great Gathering is by going in a Ford Cortina, and you have been trained since birth to not like Ford Cortinas, and you'd sooner spoon your eyes out than get in a Ford Cortina, there's another example. That's the level of prejudice, that something really deep, really ingrained, really quite inaccurate, and that's the end of the qualification of it. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't be some form of racism, sexism or homophobia, or it could be some form of Ford Continerism or farm workerism, if that's the correct use of language. Something that you have a deep set prejudice against doing or experiencing. And it's so natural, so easy to think, yeah, I'm not going to do it. This is the right way I'm feeling. But what's this whole work through your fears business? The fear may well be doing this thing, in which case to work through your fear, you need to do this thing. Or the fear may simply be releasing this prejudice. And, you know, a Ford Cortina, when all said and done, has 4 wheels and an engine, and it will get me there. So either I go in a Ford Cortina or I go in a Mini. It doesn't really matter. I'm still going to get there. You know, so there's a chance to come into some form of, well, glory here, angel of glory. I sing praise and glory to the source of all life. There's that sign of connecting. And also this working through your fears, this prejudice is blocking this wishes to come true card, the rapid achievement of your dreams and wishes. And the word I'm picking up on that one is the rapid, because remember here it's saying hurry up and wait. And hurry up and wait because you need to contact those divine aspects of yourself. Now, Lady Nada is one, I'm not particularly familiar with Lady Nada, so I looked her up. She is the light force that helps us awaken our heart to the divine love we deserve, the light keeper whose essence allows the light within our heart to expand, revealing a true, naked and vulnerable aspect of our soul. Now that's the same story as what these whale and orca elders are all about, revealing that inner soul. So somewhere you are being asked to look at where you are blocking your own inner soul expressing itself. And that's whether it's Ford Cortinas, you know, farm workers, racism, sexism, homophobia, all the other isms that are out there, transphobia. You know, there's so many different ways this could be manifesting itself, but this block should be apparent. And this block being apparent is the one where you have the knee-jerk reaction of, no, I don't do that. So if you find yourself going, no, I don't do that, and feeling quite secure in the knowledge that you don't do that, hello, just examine that a little bit. Just look at it a little bit, because working through it, there is an option opening up for you for wishes come true here. So I don't know what all that necessarily means. Work through your fears, and we get the Nine of Swords with the Queen of Wands for the Great Gathering. So there's something beautiful that you can create, but you are being blocked for it until you take yourself in hand and work out what the difference between your morals and your fears are. That's what I can call the reading. What's the difference between your morals and your fears? So let's have a look at the Keter card. So yes, we have guidance coming in. The Star card indicating the Keter. The Divine is showing you how to open your heart. That sense of glory is trying to remind you about what's left. You may be looking at the loss of that prejudice, the loss of that belief, the loss of that distaste, the loss of that moral, as you would have called it before you looked at it properly. That glory of God is there to help you remember what's remaining, what can help your wishes. And see here, we have a divine pairing. So by taking a moment, whether this is through a ritual, through a prayer, through meditation, whatever it is that you are being blocked on, where you are not working on those fears, work on those fears, talk to your God, spirit, inner self, higher self, however it manifests for you, or whatever ritual works to trick your mind into properly talking with your spirit, if that makes sense. So if you mean, do I mean God or higher self or angels or spirits or inner spirit or whatever, the answer is yes to all of them. They're all the same thing, completely all the same thing. It's just the language in which this little illusionarily separate piece of the divine talks to the rest of the divine, which is also you. So you are both God and you're not, all at the same time, because of course you are, and of course it's that way, because how could it be anything else? Right, but revealing that true soul, that true spark, full card brings you a whole new beginning coming out. There is, if you're hanging on to your present power and hanging on to what you see as public accolades, that is going to cause you pain here. Whereas the desire for knowledge, they're wanting to get rid of that, whatever the prejudice is, you know, I mean, could be anti-veganism. You know, is no, I do not eat vegetarian meals. What's a cucumber sandwich? It's a vegetarian meal. But wishes come true. You can surge ahead to it if you take these, whatever this work through your fears is. This is a hard reading for you, Sagittarius, because there's some real soul searching going on here, but it's so much worth it with these cards towards the end. And the fact is that it's worth doing simply because it's worth doing. This is all hinting at the reward. Well, I suppose no, it does tell you what the reward is. Wishes come true at the end of it, but the wishes have to be without the fears. There's not much more I really need to say on this. That's hard work for you, Sagittarius. If it means something to you, comment down below. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Come join the Facebook page. I will see you next on the monthly readings. And hopefully you'll have got all this over and done with by then. And you've used whatever ritual you need to do, or meditation, or prayer practice, or self-examination, or what have you. But there's work for you here, Sagittarius. Crack on. South Node in Sag at the moment anyway, so, you know, it's time to get rid of past stuff. And you know I mean something other than stuff. See you later.